Uh, is there anything to really fucking say right now? Just a game that happened and was probably one of the most wild things we'll see. Just, I don't even, the clash of good and bad is just incredible. So if you watch the game, you realize how much was just happening that made this game probably one of the standout games of the season for many reasons. And surprisingly, very few of them are for reasons of the things that took place on the field. We've reached critical mass with this whole thing. Now it's gone from the players being just whatever out there clowning to the coaching staff starting to put on their makeups and really show what type of clownery they can get down to. You know, what they can get down to too. It's that real now. My man, Graham Cano, we're not gonna waste no time, special teams and stuff. Graham Gano was missing kicks today. Don't know why they had him out there kicking. Injured coming in, been missing kicks coming in, was raining coming in. We knew all these things. We go down there in the first half of the game. We get down there in the red zone, get stuff, it's 4th and 1. Can you kick it or should you go for it? Analytics, I don't know what they were saying. I felt we probably should have went for it then because Gano just was not online these last few games, last few weeks. And it did, what happened? He came out, he missed. Gano, showing cracks, man. Not great. Coaching decision, bad. Just, I didn't like it at all. I thought we should have gone for it, mainly because in that first half, the offense just was not doing anything. Tyrod was only in the game for about 8 pass attempts. Then he got hurt. In the beginning of the game was rainy, kind of drenched. Before the game even got started, Tyrod got hurt and he was gone, all right? Rolling out to his right side, trying to make something happen. He wanted to make a throw somewhere down where the ball came out of his hand. He grabbed it back within himself, caught it, tried to run a little bit. And he got tackled, fell on the ball, boom, he's hurt. Wishing him the best because he did go off to the hospital for it and everything, some type of rib injury. I'm sure we'll get updates on that, but well wishes to all of that, of course. No matter who the player is. But at the beginning of the game, everybody was dropping on both sides of the teams. Jets were losing guys, we were losing guys. It started looking like it was going to be really, really bad, but that kind of stopped after the first hand, maybe after the players changed out cleats or got used to the field itself, the conditions, and the play settled down a little bit there. As far as the injuries, they still kind of happened, but they settled down a lot from where it started out. Beginning of the game, pretty much nothing was going out of offense. The pass game was all but shut down, really 8 yards out of the pass game before Tyrod went out, and you'll find out there wasn't anything else afterwards, pretty much. That pretty much after Tyrod went out, it was all Saquon Barkley and the run game to include Breda whenever he was coming in to spell Barkley there. But it was a Saquon Barkley offense game. We know what he means to the offense, but this just reaffirms once again, I don't know how many motherfucking ways we got to see it, that this dude is just so much of the offense that without him, things just come to complete halt. And if we didn't have him in the game today, we would have had 0 yards. We wouldn't have had no yards. I don't know how many team yardage we had scrimmage. I couldn't find it. It wasn't up yet before I came in here to do this. But I know Saquon had like 130 some odd yards on the ground, pretty much nothing from the receiving game. Only had 3 targets, 3 receptions or whatever. And they went for a total of 0 yards. But so everything he had is from the ground. Plenty of carries. He was pounding it, man. We did not, in the second half of the game, we did not pass the ball, but maybe 3 or 4 times, okay? We had 22 plays of consecutive runs this past game here against the Jets where we threw 1 pass, all right? So there's no confusion about what this game was from an offense productive standpoint or the scheming or anything like that. There was nothing going on in the past. We lost Darren Waller early. He came in with the hamstring issue, and he left out with that hamstring issue. Game time decision from jump anyhow. He was looking rough about it, and it just did not pan out, man. Colder weather, wet, having to run around out there probably did aggravate it. It's whatever, players get hurt. But that does not excuse how the game really turned out offensively, because on the other half of the side, the team here, the defense, unstoppable today. Everybody, Kayvon Thibodeau, said his name right, showed up. Haters or whomever you want to call them, the analytics, the critics was coming down on him, and that man definitely showed up immediately. First play of the game from defense, sacked by Kayvon Thibodeau with the fumble. Can't remember if we got the ball or not. Very first game, first series of plays for the defense. He was there, sack, fumble, big time sack. Game on, Kayvon from jump. That did not turn in any points from us. Is another situation that matched later on in the half where we got the ball into the red zone. We got the ball on the turnover this time into the red zone, very start of the game, and all we come out with is 3 points. Gano made that kick, but still the call was made to go for the kick when I felt even then it was like, yo, we got this great opportunity to just jumpstart out with 7 quick, strong points, 6 strong, quick points, and the coaching was what the coaching was here. The coaching is the biggest factor, in my opinion, from this game. Decisions were bad situationally in those scoring opportunities. How the coaching was going up, especially after Tyrod went out and having to run so many of the run calls, you know, it is what it is there. Tommy DeVito came in, third string quarterback. He only able to show a little bit in the preseason, but apparently the staff, especially without, you know, the game plan being centered around him coming in, they just weren't able to trust him to be able to keep the game together from the quarterback position, throwing the ball wherever. And there was no passing whatsoever. Just run after run. Occasionally we'd get some jet sweep stuff with Wandell, who ran that pretty well. Like I said, Breda getting mixed in there, spelling Barkley. Barkley ran as best as he could run out there, getting by, especially in the second half. He showed his strength. The defense started to get worn down, and we took control of the game for a little bit. We're up 10-7, holding that down for a while. We got to that situation where I can't remember if it was 10 up at that time or if it was still 10-7, where we had the ball in a situation on that second half, the second time in the red zone, 4th and 1. We trot out Gano, and he misses the kick. Gano, now you've officially lost your MVP status. It is gone. It's gone. He's missing kicks. He's not healthy, but who knows how healthy he was when he was missing them beforehand. So right now, MVP status is done for Gano. I just don't know what to do. The players of the day, the game MVPs of this game, really, no lie, man, are Saquon Barkley on the offense. I mean, you can look at the team yardage, scrimmage yardage. The man probably has about 70-80% of them. I don't even know. It could be higher, which would just be ridiculous, honestly. On the defensive side, though, there's a lot of names to call out. But first, we'll start off with Kayvon Thibodeau. Once again, came in the second half. He did not stop sacking people. He had 4 sacks on the day, a tackle for the loss, a forced fumble. The man was showing up. He was big. His best game as a Giant to date was today, Kayvon Thibodeau. But that's probably the best game of the season for the Giants defensively all year. Cordell Flott was out in the secondary, locking stuff down. They were throwing at him all game, and Cordell was there to make plays, knock the ball out of guys' hands. Garrett Wilson, he was on a few different people probably. Garrett Wilson over there on the sideline, he had one big knockout on the third down. The defense was holding it down because the Jets did not have any third down conversions in the second half. They were like 0-11. I think they finished out maybe 2 for 13, 2 for 14, whatever, how that works out. They were not. Defense was just holding it down, man. They were. Big game by defense. And it got let down. They got let down by the motherfucking coaching staff. Offensive side of the coaching staff, whatever. They definitely failed them there too. Not the defensive side of the coaching staff, because the defensive side of the coaching staff was the one that was putting them in the plays they was in. So it wasn't them. The offensive side of the ball was just bad call situationally after bad call. Like I say, running Saquon in a situation and he was performing. That man, don't talk about him. Don't talk about trades. Don't talk about this, that, and worth. Don't talk about him losing a step. Don't talk about his catching ability. Don't talk about any of that. Every week after week, this man is the offense for this team. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying it's because I want him to be the only thing on this offensive team, or I'm that big of a fan of himself that I let that shit supersede what the team is out there doing. That's not how it happens. All right, it's as blue as it gets. It's as blue as it gets. So it's a whole encompassing thing with this right now. But today, he was the offense. He just was. Reinforcing the point why they should have paid him a little bit more out of what they paid the quarterback, perhaps, in the quarterback position in the offseason, this offseason, okay? Just the way it is. Tyrod gone, so we had the veto. Don't know how that's going to work out next game. That's not next game in this video. This is just the post-game thing that I'm getting down now because this is me, and I don't want anybody else thinking what me is not me, because that's what shit get twisted at, and people get me confused, and nah. You know what I'm saying? I speak for me. I'm going to speak for me. Moving on, though. Again, the defensive side of the ball, man. It's just there's so much to highlight on the defensive side of the ball that you might as well include everybody. Because Dexter Lawrence was there. Leonard Williams was there. The front seven completely was locking it down. There was no runs by Breece Hall. He had one completion out of the backfield that he took to the house. But the man is a beast, is what he does. So he smoked some guys on that. But hey, after that, lockdown city pretty much. He did not do anything on the run game or the pass game after that, really. Isaiah Simmons making plays. Bobby Okereke showing up again. I don't know how many tackles he had, how many he was involved in, but I imagine it was floating around that 8, 9, 10, maybe even 12 from the way the game was going in, because it did go into overtime at the end. That kind of includes the points that we didn't take or that we did attempt to get in the fourth quarter there, when there was like 3-4 minutes remaining, and it was a situation where you felt, we could probably go for it and probably maybe even have a strong chance of coming away with some points or getting that first down generally and burning the clock out, because there was no hiding at that point what the offense was, okay? There was no situation where they were going to come out and pretend that they were going to go pass, because they hadn't been passing at any point, in the second half at all. Since the second quarter, weren't passing. And here's more things to go with it. I have to remember on my way here. But the idea, we had another fourth down play somewhere in the midfield where a punt situation. It was fourth and longer though, like 5-6 yards, 4 yards or something like that. And the coaching staff, Dayball, whomever, come out and they pretend like they're going to snap the ball and let the clock run down and get a delay of game. Why didn't y'all do that at the fucking half of the damn field when we're in the red zone? 2 opportunities to pull something like that, and y'all don't pull it not either time. Not either time. Especially in the second half, when the ball was moving like it was. Saquon was the offense, but he was producing. That's a shame, man. Total failure by the coaching staff. I feel like that's why we lost this game. The plays were the plays. The players who left the game at the times they did impacted that, yes. But as far as what the coaching staff is doing, it's a major point in the coaching staff. Probably their worst offensive situational game of the season, because it was just in their face over and over again with the opportunities, and they didn't seize any of them. It was horrible. Special teams was not great. The kicking side of special teams for field goal was not great. Receiving special teams was better. We had can't remember his name, how to say it. OZ is what I call him for now. Out there from the New England Patriots. Which is funny tidbit from this game. He started out not using gloves on his kick returns, and I'm pretty sure Barkley started the game wearing gloves, and he normally does. But in the second half, or the flip-flop of the game, OZ started, our kick returner, started wearing gloves on his kick returns, and then Barkley had removed his gloves because of the rain. He does that sometimes, he moves his gloves with the rain and stuff. So that was a funny little tidbit. But yeah, as far as the kick coverage was pretty decent, man. It's pretty good. It's been going really nicely over the last few weeks. And number 44, McLeod, man, he is the standout special teams coverage guy of this team right now. The last few weeks, I've been watching him. Number 44, shout out to you, McLeod. You out there holding that shit down. You always the first dude down there, and you're always in position to get that ball to stop and to be around the guy. Great job by McLeod out there. Number 44, shout out on special teams coverage. and whomever else is down there on special teams coverage, you guys doing a pretty good job. Those guys doing a pretty good job. What else, man? It really is a game that did not move anywhere because both defenses were doing really solid, especially with the elements in the rain, and both offenses were just non-functional. Zach Wilson was doing Zach Wilson things. The Jets can deal with that, but we were punishing this guy in the sacks. We were punishing him on the breakups and the passing. He couldn't do much of anything out there. The elements might have been a factor. He's been doing okay the last few weeks, but this week was a backslide for Zach, and I blame a lot of that because of defense just being as potent as they were today. Big shout out to the defense all across the board. I think that's the quickest thing is to knock it out. There's really not much more to say in this. Maybe I have another video to go into more details on the coaching decisions and we can see the stats and things like that broke down. But Saquon Barkley held it down today for the offense, doing what he could. He was the only option 90% of the time. And the other 10% was Wandale and Breda and whoever else might have had a sprinkling of anything. Darius Slayton didn't do anything. Sterling Shepard wasn't a factor. Jalen Hyatt, nothing today. Running routes deep wasn't a factor after Tyrod went out. And Bellinger filling in for Waller after Waller's hamstring injury. He was out. Nothing to say from there either. It was maybe a pass to win his direction, got broken up. DeVito was passing the ball. That's it, man. Hope you had fun watching the game. Whatever it was a good played game, man. It really was. From what was out there, the coaching staff failed us, not the players on the field today. I don't feel that any players on the field today, at the end, if they have a bad grading, especially the offensive line or something like that, they didn't fail. They didn't fail the team today, man, because when it came down to just running the ball, they were doing a good enough job, and Saquon was getting through the line of scrimmage, and he was getting 3-4 yards in them tough carries, and he was breaking a few for, 9, 10, and 12 yards like that, man. He set another milestone for himself today, having the most 20-yard carries, like the fourth on the list in the NFL since he's come in with 20-yard plus carries. So again, he's showing his breakout potential. It's still there. Hasn't left him. He might be half a mile slower, a mile and a half slower than he was 4 years ago. But it doesn't matter when you've already been tops before and you lose just a little bit of that. Don't change completely who you are. If you remember things like his combine, the man was ridiculous in his combine. So that element is something that's going to hold up for a while. Takes care of his body and whatnot. Going to end this game or this post-game review. Shout out to the defense one more time. Kayvon Thibodeau, Cordell Flott, everybody else back there. Jason Pinnock once again showing up. A lot of people did their things, man. A lot of people did their things on defense. They should all get graded out excellently. Way to go. Talk to y'all later. Go Giants. We took another L. It is what it is. As blue as it gets. It's your boy and I'm out.